Hi everybody. As I mentioned in my slides, there are several apps which allow you to create charts and graphs without requiring you to know computer code. Now, of course, we've learned HTML and a little JavaScript and things in this course, but I don't consider myself an expert programmer, and I don't think librarians really have to be, because there are all sorts of neat tools out there that can give you the power of computers without us having to write our own code and reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So I'm going to show you a an app called ChartBlocks, which is one of the apps I mentioned, and it's really neat because it's straightforward and easy to use, but it gives you some pretty interesting visualizations of your data. And visualization is kind of a summary that you can see, and you can pick out trends and patterns. So I think it's really useful. So let's say we have a data set, which I have typed into a spreadsheet here. Let's say we are in a school library and you have some information on how many kids novel series are, how many books in each series have been checked out per month. And let's say this is a reasonably large school. We have four different series here: the Boxcar Children books, American Girl, Goosebumps, and Nancy Drew. And then we have a kind of composite number for all other series besides those four. So everything that is not in one of those four series would be included in all other series. And so each series we have information per month, how many checkouts per month. And we would like to make that into some form of graph which can help us visually pick out some patterns. And so I drew a little sketch here in Microsoft Paint. It's not very good, but it gets the point across about how we could make a histogram or an area chart for these data. So here is my idea. We want to have checkouts of novel series by month, and each novel series is going to have an area filled in below it, which is how many books are checked out. So if 100 books are checked out for September, then we're going to have a point here that's 100. Oopsie. We're going to have a point here that's 100. And then if 50 books of the next series are checked out, this would be 50 higher than 100. Okay, and then so we're going to have all the other books on the bottom, and then we'll have each Boxcar Children, American Girl, Goosebumps, and Nancy Drew stacked in a histogram or area chart. So that's the idea. So let's go to our web browser, and then ChartBlocks can help make this idea a reality. So I'm actually already in it, so let me X out of that. So you want to go to your web browser, and we will type in chartblocks.com. Let's see. And we are in an English area, so /en. This is actually an international tool, I guess. And it requires you to log in because for the fancy version, they make you pay for it. But the free version is very powerful, and frankly, I don't know why you'd ever have to pay unless you want the really fancy features. And I practiced making this chart, so I'm just going to delete this. So I'll show you from scratch. Again, I am logged in, as you see here at the top right of the screen. You need a profile, but it's free. You just have to give them an email address, and you have to, I think, make up a username, etc. So this is the home page, and on the ChartBlocks app. So you push the plus sign to make a new chart, and it guides you through the steps. The first step is to upload your data set. And you can type it in, you can use one you made earlier, or what we're going to do is upload a spreadsheet. And so we click upload spreadsheet and click here to bring up the file explorer or other file manager program. And I think it was this version I saved. So we're going to open that. And then once it loads, there it is. Okay. So this looks correct. If we go back to our Excel sheet, does it show the same thing? Yes. Boxcar Children, American Girl, etc., September, October, November. Okay. So that is the correct data set. So we will click next here at the upper right. And then we'll call this Kids Novel Series Checkouts by month. Click next. And so you can choose several different types of charts. We're going to choose an area chart, which is a stacked area would be a histogram. And I chose this because it's a little more advanced, but it's a powerful type of chart to see with your eyes visually. And ChartBlocks has actually looked at the data and chosen what it thinks are the correct series. So if you go here, there is the x-axis. Is that right? Yes. So we want to have, if we go back to my little diagram here, we want to have the month on the x-axis, okay? And then each book series will be one series on the y-axis. So that's correct. The month is on the x-axis. Each book series is on the y-axis. Then our data is in columns, so we don't want to check my data. And we do want to check use first row as the series name. Okay, good. So it populates. And you see series 1 is highlighted here along with the x-axis. If we go down here, then series 2 will be highlighted, and similar for series 3 and series 4 and 5. Okay, so we are ready to go to the next step, and we want to choose a color template, and we can always modify this later. I'll just pick this one. And then we want to customize our graph because, as you can see, it's a little bit of a mess right now, but we will fix that. So click Customize. And now we have all kinds of options. So the first thing I notice is that the whole graph is blue, and that's not quite what we want. So let's go over on the left-hand column. We go to Options. And remember, we wanted a stacked area plot. So we want to check this checkbox that says stacked. And aha, that looks better already. Okay. And I think we want to have, let's see, the blue is all other series. Okay. So since the blue is all of the other books, we want to have that on the bottom for aesthetic purposes. So let's go over to data on the left-hand column, and we can simply click and drag this. So if we put it all the way at the other end, it'll switch it around. Okay, so that looks better. And then what else? It doesn't really make sense to have a y-axis that is showing the numbers because that only works for the lowest series that is plot on there. So the light blue here, the first point in September is a little over 100, but you notice the dark blue starts at over 100. So it doesn't go to 150. You have to subtract the 150 minus 100. Okay, so that's about a width of 50. Um, so you can keep the axis in there if you want. Just remember you have to do the subtractions. I would like to get rid of this um, enumerated axis. So I'm going to go over here to axes, and I'm going to turn off the left axis. And it shows our graph exactly the same except without the numbers. So that helps. And I think that is going to do it for our graph here. And if you look at this graph, you can see some patterns. First of all, the other series, all other series put together is the light blue, and the light blue is thicker than any of the other colors. So that makes sense. If you put all the other books together, that's going to be more total books than each individual series. Also, it appears that the yellowish color here, the marigold color, is very thick in October. And in October, let's see, the yellow color is Goosebumps. So it makes sense that there are more checkouts of Goosebumps during the month when Halloween is. So that's interesting. Also, Nancy Drew appears to be very highly checked out in December. I guess maybe kids are taking it home over the Christmas break, or you can think of any number of explanations. And there are various other patterns you can visually identify. It looks a little bit random, this graph does, but that's the idea for making charts. And the power of ChartBlocks and similar apps is that you don't have to know computer code to make a visualization like this. You can, and once you've made it, you can simply go to share, or you can download it as a PNG file or similar file type. If you go to share, you can use a public link, or you can actually embed the code as an iframe object, similar to how you can embed a YouTube video as an iframe object, or various other objects. So that is one tool that you can use to explore your data with a visualization. So I hope you find that helpful, and thanks for listening.